ugly scenes that enveloped after Vinicius Junior's goal. And Clarence, something that a lot of people won't have seen come into action, which was what happened when the referee heard the accusations of racism, and that protocol is something you've been involved with.
Yeah, I mean, since 2 years, the panel, the voice panel of players, FIFA voice panel of players has been created by all the confederations, all the federations in the world to fight racism in our stadiums, and of course, hopefully also we can have an effect on society. This gesture was actually decided by the players. Infantino has created a panel full of former players, men and women, who are now daily working on this. I'm just advising still on the background, but I was in the beginning process very closely involved. And this was the first time on this level, as you said very well, probably the biggest exposure, but it already happened in other places in the world. And this panel has been able to intervene, support the players, educate them on their rights, etc.
And there was an incident at the Club World Cup, actually, where Rudiger instigated racism accusations and the referee stopped the game. And there are 3 layers to the protocol. The first is that gesture that the referee made with his arms, and that stops the game.
Yeah, that should indicate and understand that everybody understand that there has been some racial abuse that needs to be investigated. If it comes from the stands and it continues, then the referee can even stop the match, etc., etc. But I think it's important to understand that whenever a referee or a player makes that gesture, this is an official gesture, like the VAR, to make everybody understand there has been racial abuse at that point.
And there was something you were aware of, Wayne, as well, although, Theo, for you, this was something you hadn't seen before.
I've not seen this before, so I'm really educating myself. So, yeah, it's I mean, yeah, you're really educating, you know, us and everyone, hopefully, globally as well, what it means, because I think players should be involved in this and continue to be. But look, it's ugly, isn't it? It is.
Wayne, you had experience when you were out coaching in the US of a different protocol that had similar results.
Yeah, it was quite different, but over in the MLS, which it was very effective. Actually, it was a player accused another player of racially abusing him, and the current manager at the time didn't take the player off the pitch, and the manager was sacked. So I think that got brought into the MLS that if there is an accusation of racism, that player has to be taken off the pitch. The investigation will then take place beyond that, and the outcome will be what it is. But it was very effective that the player was taken straight out of the pitch, and then I think that what happens then is the game can continue, and the natural process will take place to see. Obviously,
well, it's that process. I think we want to talk about what happens next, because while this symbol, you know, that is very powerful that the referee makes will stop the game and give a chance to kind of listen to the accusations, the game did restart eventually after 10 minutes. So people are wondering what happens now. Where does that accusation go?
Yeah, I think a lot of people didn't understand what was happening, but I think this gesture should be something that people should get more awareness about. Players, coaches and referees, of course, implementing this. Unfortunately, still in many stadiums it's happening, but I think the most important part for him, I think what he did very well today was to give the time for everybody to calm down, because everything becomes very heated. It's probably the first time we've seen it on this level in such an important match, but this is an important issue. We cannot just wave it away. So I think he did well to let everybody also calm down, to have a match that nobody was thinking about anymore afterwards, of course. But it's an educational process, and everybody, I think, should be involved. This is our world, this is our beautiful game, and we need to protect it all together.
And it's important to say that this is not just a gesture. Letexia, the referee tonight, obviously used. It could be used by players, it could be used by somebody in the stands to draw attention to racial abuse.
Because this is a common problem for everybody. This should be not in the stadiums, it shouldn't not in society, but that is something maybe for after, but for sure it should not be on the pitches. I think that we have always respected each other when we played against each other. You can fight hard, you can do everything, but you don't have to, you know, go above anything similar to what happened most likely today again. But again, we don't know what has been said. But the fact that Vini went to the referee and expressed racial abuse, that's why the signal came from the referee, because he has to acknowledge it. That is the new...
I just think it's so sad that in this day and age that we're still having to deal with this, and it's an ongoing thing, but football is a game which brings so much joy and so much love and passion around the world, and still we get highlights like this where we're getting players, allegedly, I think you have to say, because we don't know whether he has said or not, that process will take place, but we're still getting this now in football and as Calam said, in the world and society, and it's so sad that...
The story of Vini starts in a favela. From the moment he comes out of that favela when he was a kid, the whole world is against him. And that's something that Spanish football, and perhaps football in general, have not understood. He looks at the world as a hostile place. So, of course, now that he feels that he's got a platform where he can be heard, he's going to fight against that. And people are saying, don't behave like that. Don't jump when people provoke you. Don't provoke others. But he sees the world as a hostile place. In here now, I think he feels everybody's listening. He's been very emotional in the past when he's been insulted. Now he just goes at those that he feels are going against him. And quite clearly, Pastrani has done something really, really wrong that I feel Mbappé has heard as well. So at the moment, we'll need to have more information about it, but yeah, it's a place where Vinicius has got the right to protest. He is the victim, and I don't think football, fans in general, too tribal, don't fully get it.
Again, we're going to leave you to try and figure out what you can. Maybe you can get to speak to somebody over there. We'll see if you can. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thierry, I'd love to get your opinion on this.
I can relate to what Vinicius Jr. is going through. That happened to me so many times on the field. I talked about it so many times after games. I've been also accused of looking for excuses after game when that happened to me. So at times you feel lonely because it's going to be your word against his word. And so because we don't know what Pastrani has said, because he was very courageous because he put his shirt over his mouth to make sure that we're not going to see what he said. So clearly already you look suspicious because you didn't want people to see or read what you said. Then the reaction of Vinicius is telling me that something not right happened. So we're going to have to wait to see what's been said because we still don't know. Vinicius can tell us his side, and Pastrani, I'm sure, will not tell us what he actually said, because I saw at one point it was Kylian Mbappé that confronted him, and he said to Kylian, I didn't say anything. Well, you must have said something, at the very least. So where I go back to sometimes it's lonely, and you feel like you don't know what to do anymore, because I've been in that situation. Vinicius has been in that situation. So many players have been in that situation. So we're in 2026, and still after a game like that, where we're supposed to talk about his brilliant goal, and the only answer that he had is that goal they won by 1-0, and I heard him saying "a la Madrid" at the very end. But technically, you shouldn't be having to deal with the ref telling you don't go to the corner flag because that will incite the crowd. It's a corner. I cannot take my corner. Like I can't go there also to take a corner just because people are thinking whatever they're thinking, as Mike has said. Obviously, they didn't have the info of what happened. But then suddenly he becomes the victim. He can't go and take a corner. What do you mean he can't go and take a corner? Why can he not stay there and play a short corner? Anyway, I can relate. And I can assure you, when that happens, you don't know what to do anymore. So he tried to walk out one time in Spain, if I remember well, away. Then another time, he tried to kick someone back because he had enough. Now he went to see the referee to tell him what happened. I've been there. The referee also told me I can't do anything about it. As you can see, they couldn't do anything about it. They go and see people to try to see what they can do about it. Because they don't know what happened and what's been said, they cannot take action. But let's see how big of a man Pastrani is. Tell us what you said. You must have said something, because you can't go and say to Mbappé after, I didn't say anything. What do you mean you didn't say anything? So you cover your nose for what? You have a cold?